When you hear the word hacking, what's the first thing that pops into your mind? A guy in a hoodie, green code running down a black screen? Let me tell you straight up, that's the Hollywood version. Real hacking, it's deeper, smarter, and way more powerful than that. It's the art of understanding systems deeply, not about distraction, but about control. It's knowing how something works so well you can make it do what it was never meant to do. There are three types of hackers. The first one, white hats. These one are ethical and legal hackers. There is the black hats. These one are the criminal hackers. And the gray hats, these one are working in the line. And all of them use the same core techniques, just for different purposes. Big tech companies actually hire hackers to test their systems. That's what bug bounty programs are. Legal ways to pay people for finding vulnerabilities before the bad guys do. So no, hacking isn't always illegal. It's a skill, a mindset, a digital form of art. If you are smart enough to learn it, you can do amazing things, ethically of course. Let's kill the myths. It's not just guessing passwords. It's not just instant like movies. Real hacking takes knowledge, patience, and deep thinking. Most hacks happen because someone left a door open. Weak passwords, outdated software, unpatched flows, default admin logins. It's not about being a genius, it's about being observant. A hacker follows a process. Processes like recon, scanning, exploitation, post-exploitation, and cleanup. It's surgical, it's strategic. It's not just pressing the enter button and boom, you're in. Different types of hacking include network attacks, web app exploits, system-level exploits, social engineering, and reverse engineering. Each one uses different tools and skills, but the mindset is the same. Now that you understand what hacking really is, it's time to explore the mindset behind it. Let's jump inside the head of a hacker and see what drives every exploit. Before any tool or exploit, there's curiosity. That's the real engine behind hacking. The best hackers aren't just technical, they're explorers. They see something as simple as a login page and instantly wonder, what happens if I break the rules? What happens if I send input that wasn't expected? Can I trigger an error and learn something from it? To a hacker, systems are puzzles, layered, complex, and full of opportunities. Where most people see a polished app or website, hackers see patterns, input vectors, overlooked edge cases. They think in terms of structure, logic, and failure points. They do not ask, does it work? They ask, what happens when it breaks? So, what makes a hacker? It's not just skill, it's the mindset. A relentless drive to know how things work and then why they work that way. They are part builder, part breaker. They fail a lot, but they learn from every failure and they never stop digging. Take something as basic as a login form. A regular user just logs in. A hacker probes. They might try special characters or SQL queries to trick the back end. They might check how the site responds when it's broken. One tiny misconfiguration could open the door to the entire system. This approach is methodical. It's not just random button smashing. It's strategic. It starts with choosing a target and gathering every piece of public data available. That's reconnaissance. Then it's time to scan, find out what ports are open, what services are running. From there, enumeration, what versions are running, and are they vulnerable? And then comes the attack or the exploitation. After that, post-exploitation, moving around the network, collecting data, escalating access, and finally, the cover-up, cleaning logs, erasing traces, and all that. Hacking isn't a magical gotcha moment. It's slow, detailed, and focused. The flash only comes at the end after hours of scanning, scripting, and silently watching. Sometimes all it takes is a default password, admin. It sounds ridiculous, right? But it happens more than you think. In one real case, a company left a sensitive dashboard exposed. A hacker guessed the default credentials and got access to everything. Emails, customer data, internal tools, no malware, just overlooked laziness. At its core, hacking is about control. If you understand a system deeply, if you see the architecture beneath the surface, you can bend it, you can exploit it. Knowledge becomes power. And now that you understand how hackers think, let's get practical. Let's dive into the exact tools they use and how real exploits are built. Now that you understand what hacking really is and how a hacker thinks, let's go into the part that everyone's been waiting for, the actual tools and techniques used to break into systems, exploit vulnerabilities, and bend digital world to your will. But remember, tools are just that, tools. They are useless unless you know why and how to use them. Just like a lockpick in the hands of someone who doesn't understand locks, it is just a piece of metal. A hacking tool without understanding it, it is just a toy. Let's open the toolbox. Every hacker has a digital weapon set. Here are some essentials. Kali Linux, the most popular hacking-focused operating system, preloaded with hundreds of tools, is the best scam for most security pros and enthusiasts. Nmap, the internet's X-ray vision, use it to scan IPs, find open ports, and identify services running on the target. Burp Suite, a web hacker's scalpel. It lets you intercept, modify, and replay HTTP requests. If a web app is vulnerable, Burp can find it. Wireshark, packet sniffing in style. You can read network traffic like a book, passwords, sessions, secrets, all hiding in plain sight. Hydra, brute forcing logins like a machine. Try thousands of username and password combination against SSH, FTP, or websites. And last but not least, Metasploit, the framework for launching exploits. It has pre-built payloads, post-exploitation module, and it can even spawn Metapredator shells. Now picture this, you launch Nmap and scan a target server. It's running an old version of Apache with port 80 open. You research known vulnerabilities and find a remote code execution flow. Confirmed it is unpatched. You load up Metasploit, set the payload, target the host, and boom, you've got shell access. From there, it's just the beginning. But how does this all really play out? Let's walk through a real-world hacking chain. Say you find a login page on a website. You try inputting the following in the screen in the username field and it works. That's SQL injection. One of the oldest and still most common web vulnerabilities. You bypass authentication and access the admin panel. Inside, you find a file upload feature. You try uploading a web shell, a small PHP file that lets you execute system commands directly from your browser. Boom, command execution. Now you have file system access. You search for configuration files, you find a database password. That same password is reused on the server's SSH account. You log in via SSH, now you are inside the actual system. But it doesn't stop there. Next, you escalate privileges. You find SUID binary with misconfigured permissions. You run a local exploit and now you are root. Full control. This isn't fiction. This is a common exploitation chain that plays out in the wild every day. One tiny crack leads to total compromise. And do not forget about pivoting. Once you have compromised one system inside a network, you can use it to move laterally to other machines, other users, or deeper into critical infrastructure. This is what we call post-exploitation. The job's not done after you get in, it's only just get started. The goal is persistent, stealth, and data extraction. And here's where things get even more interesting. Sometimes the weakest part of a system isn't a computer at all, it's a human. Intersocial engineering. This is hacking without code. It's psychological warfare. You trick people into giving you access. Examples: sending a phishing email that mimics a company login page, calling an employee pretending to be IT support and asking for their credentials, or even dropping USB drives labeled salary data around the parking lot and waiting for someone to plug one in. Humans are predictable, they make mistakes and they trust too easily. A good hacker knows how to exploit that trust better than any exploit in a toolset. You can bypass the strongest firewall only if someone on the inside opens the door for you. Let's talk about reverse engineering, the process of taking apart software to see how it works under the hood. You can decompile an Android APK to view its source code. You might even find API keys, hidden admin pages, or debug features with tools like Jadix, MobSF, and Hydra. You can break down apps, binaries, and firmware. This lets you understand the inner workings of a system. And now you can find flaws no one ever meant to reveal. Sometimes it's not even about gaining access, it's about understanding behavior. Let's say an app encrypts its traffic, but if you intercept it with Barbsuit using a custom certificate, you can still see the raw data, usernames, passwords, session tokens, etc. And if a developer didn't implement certificate pinning, that's a vulnerability you can use. Now let's not forget about covering your tracks. After an exploit, an attacker might clear log files, remove shells or backdoors, modify timestamps, set up persistence using cron jobs or schedule tags, and even create hidden users. You wanna know why? Because staying undetected is as important as gaining access. A loud hacker is a cold hacker. But here's the catch. Good hackers do not destroy. Ethical hackers report what they find. They submit vulnerabilities to security teams. They write detailed reports with reproduction tapes. They give companies a chance to fix things before the bad guys find them. Hacking, at its highest form, isn't about chaos. It's about clarity. It's not about hurting. It's about understanding. Understanding how systems work, how they break, and how to protect them. So if you want to become a hacker, don't just memorize tools. Learn the why behind everything. And in my case, I suggest you to study the following things. You can study programming, and in programming you can study languages like Python, C, or JavaScript. You can study networking, and in networking you can study about TCP or IP, DNS, ports or protocols. You can go ahead and study about Linux, and in Linux you can study about bash, permissions, or kernel modules. You can also go ahead and study about web technologies like HTTP, cookies, or sessions. And lastly, you can study about cryptography, things like hashes, encryption, or token systems. And above all, stay ethical. The world needs hackers, but it needs hackers who use their skills to build, secure, educate, and explore. So now you have seen what it really means to hack. You've got the mindset, you've got the tools, and you have glimpsed the power that comes with understanding systems better than anyone else. This isn't just a skill, this is a lifelong craft. Keep learning, keep building, keep breaking responsibly, of course. This is Kevdyne, and you have just unlocked the real art of exploitations. Till the next video, cheers.